Hello everyone and welcome to the first spring sports edition of the ACMi Sports Update. I will take you right into the spring action. On Monday, April 4th, the Arlington Spy Ponders boys varsity baseball team opened their season at home against the Watertown Red Raiders. After keeping Watertown scoreless in the first 3 innings and scoring once in the bottom of the first, they exploded with 8 runs in the bottom of the third alone. They added 2 more in the bottom of the fourth and kept Watertown off the board for 5 innings, so they won by the mercy rule with a final score of 11-0. They followed that one up with a 10-5 win on the road at Wakefield. Ultimately, the Spy Ponders would come back home against Lexington and suffer a tough first loss, losing 9-2. Back at home on April 20th, they pounded Belmont 16-2 and won their next game against Reading as well. It was an intense contest thanks to great pitching from Arlington's Dylan Walsh, but in the bottom of the 7th, Arlington was losing 0-1 with 2 outs and a runner on first thanks to Josh Garner. Josh's brother Max stepped up to the plate and walloped a game-winning 2-run home run to make the final score 2-1 in Arlington's favor. Not a bad start overall to the season for the Spy Ponders, who seem in prime position to break out. The softball team started off their season on Monday, April 4th on the road against Watertown. It was a strong beginning with a 19-0 win. They dominated in their next game against Wilmington as well with a 13-1 defeat. They continued their road wins, beating Lexington 9-6, and their home opener against Winchester resulted in a 14-8 win. They won their next 2 games against Mansfield and Belmont. Their first loss of the season was to Reading with a 0-4 score, and another followed against Woober 1-4. The Spy Ponders had a hot start to their season and looked to be in a good position to go in a deep run in the playoffs. The boys tennis team is another Arlington High School team that is off to a hot start, as they have won all 4 of their first matches. They beat Watertown at home and Malden Catholic on the road in 5 straight sets. They also beat Wakefield on the road and Wilmington at home by a score of 4-1. From there, they dropped 3 out of their next 4 matches but are still controlling a winning record at 5-3. If the Spy Ponders can bounce back from recent struggles, we could have a strong tennis contender on our hands this spring. The girls' tennis team had a solid start to their season along with the other Spy Ponders teams. They won their first 2 matches against Watertown and Wakefield 5-0, setting a precedent for their season. On April 5th, they had a tougher matchup against Newton South, but they were able to pull away with a 4-1 win. They continued on to defeat Wilmington 5-0 and then were on the road against Lexington, where they were taken down in a 0-5 loss. They did not have any drain on them though, as they came back and beat Cambridge Rhines and Latin at home 5-0. Their match on April 12th against Winchester had close individual scores, but ultimately the Ponders lost 5-0. They were able to defeat Belmont and Reading though, giving the girls a 7-2 record. The boys lacrosse team looks to be a formidable opponent this season, but things got off to a rough start. Their first game came on the road against Weston on March 31st, and they were crushed 13-3. But in their home opener, they were the ones doing the crushing, beating Watertown 17-4 on April 6th. Back on the road, they struggled even worse against Wakefield, losing 13-1. But they again came back to the friendly confines of Pierce Field and won by a final score of 17-4, this time beating Somerville. That sparked a 4-game winning streak with wins of Wilmington and North Reading at home and a close 17-5 win in Malden Catholic. It has been a back-and-forth season for the Spy Ponders so far, but they are sitting comfortably with a 6-2 record and are clearly being aided by the support of their loyal fans. The girls lacrosse team might take us to the tournament this season with the start they're having. On Saturday, April 2nd, they defeated Bishop Fenwick 18-8 and went on to beat Watertown 14-7 on the road. They continued their winning streak against Wakefield, defeating them 14-4. They stayed undefeated, beating Wilmington, North Andover with a tight win against Newton South. With this start for the girls lacrosse team, it looks like a bright season for the girls. The girls and boys track season started on the road at Lexington on Tuesday, April 5th, but they had a good outing. However, neither team won in total points, unfortunately. They had another match at Reading on Saturday, April 9th, and again both teams came up short. However, they are making progress and improving in their respective seasons. All Arlington Springs teams are looking like they could have some promising seasons per usual. Remember that you can watch the full games on the ACMi Sports YouTube channel or on ACMi's education channels. That's all for this week's Sports Update. I'm Xander Lee.